Okay, let's jump right into this explainer. Today we're going to uncover exactly why you constantly feel like everyone around you is judging your every move, and spoiler alert, how science absolutely proves they aren't. We're going to break down this wildly relatable psychological mystery, and I promise you, by the end of this, you're going to walk away with a profoundly freeing new perspective on how you navigate the world. You know that feeling, right? Imagine you're walking up the stairs and you totally trip, or you completely stumble over a word in a big meeting, or you walk into a party and realize, oh no, I am wearing the exact wrong outfit for this. Instantly, your stomach just drops. It feels like a massive, blinding spotlight just snapped on and is pointing directly at you. You can literally feel the weight of everyone's eyes locking onto your mistake. We have all been there. These are those everyday social gaffes that just haunt us. You know, the ones that keep you staring at the ceiling, playing that 2 a.m. replay over and over in your head. But here is the fascinating part, and honestly, the best secret psychology has given us, almost nobody actually saw it happen. That intense, burning feeling of being watched, it's entirely an illusion.
This phenomenon actually has a name. It's called the spotlight effect. It was coined by a team of Cornell psychologists, Thomas Gilovich, Kenneth Savitsky, and Victoria Medvec. Basically, they prove that we falsely assume we're the main character in everyone else's mental movie. We just drastically, constantly overestimate how much people are noticing our appearance, our awkward slip-ups, and really just our general behavior.
But to figure out just how intense this bias actually is, the researchers didn't just hand out a boring survey. Back in the year 2000, they set up this wildly entertaining experiment to put hard numbers on it. They wanted to find the exact mathematical difference between how much we think people notice us and how much they actually do.
So here's what they did. They got a college student to put on a deeply, truly embarrassing Barry Manilow t-shirt, like a shirt that participants beforehand had universally agreed was just incredibly uncool to be caught dead in. They had the student walk into a room full of people who were just quietly filling out paperwork, stand there for a few agonizing minutes, leave, and then guess what percentage of the room actually noticed the giant face of Barry Manilow on their chest. The results were mind-blowing. The gap in reality was massive. The poor students, who were sweating under their own internal spotlight, predicted that about half the room, 50%, were staring at their embarrassing shirt. But the actual data? It turned out only about 20 to 25% of the people even noticed, so less than half of what the wearer was absolutely certain of. And they didn't stop there. The researchers were like, well, what if it's just because the shirt was embarrassing? So they reran the whole thing, but this time with cool, universally respected shirts. Think Bob Marley or Martin Luther King Jr. The wearers again confidently predicted that about 50% of the room would notice their awesome shirt. But the actual number? It plummeted to under 10%. So whether we're feeling mortified or super proud, we are just terrible at judging how much attention we're actually getting.
And look, this spotlight doesn't just shine on our wardrobe choices. Follow-up studies that tracked group conversations found the exact same pattern. We consistently overestimate how much people notice our awkward comments, our verbal stumbles, or, on the flip side, our really smart contributions to a meeting. Whether you said something absolutely brilliant or something you instantly regretted, the spotlight effect applies just the same.
So, the big question we really need to answer in this explainer is why? Why exactly does our brain trick us into feeling this constant, overwhelming judgment? If the data so clearly shows people are barely paying attention, why does it feel so undeniably real in the moment? Well, it all boils down to a psychological trap known as egocentric bias. Think about it. Because you are the absolute center of your own experience, you hear every single word you say, you feel every stumble, you know exactly what your hair looks like today, so naturally, your brain just assumes everyone else is intensely focused on all of that too. We just project our own extreme self-awareness onto everybody around us. But here is the incredibly relieving twist. Everyone else in the room is doing the exact same thing. They are all quietly starring in their own mental movie. So while you're agonizing over your own awkward laugh, the person sitting right next to you is entirely consumed by worrying about their own awkward laugh. Literally nobody has the cognitive bandwidth left over to fully clock your mistakes. Now, before we get into how to actually apply this to your daily life, let's take a quick pause for a reality check on the science itself. As a focused learner, you know it's always important to look critically at the data we're relying on, rather than just blindly accepting pop psychology.
So while these findings are remarkably consistent across multiple variations, they tested appearance, behavior, even used secret audio recordings, it is important to note that the absolute strongest evidence comes heavily from Gilovich's specific Cornell research group. It doesn't quite have decades of widespread independent replication across dozens of totally unrelated labs just yet, but within its own rigorous parameters, the pattern of us constantly overestimating attention is incredibly solid.
Keeping that caveat in mind, why does this actually matter for you? Well, once you know this egocentric bias is running in the background, it becomes a genuinely useful tool. It's like a superpower for reclaiming your confidence in everyday situations. Whether it's public speaking, walking into a dinner party 20 minutes late, or making a typo on a big presentation, understanding the spotlight effect completely changes the game.
Because think about that totally embarrassing thing you said 3 weeks ago. You know, the one still haunting you at 2 a.m.? Statistically speaking, it is completely forgotten by everyone else. Why? Because most people probably gave it a passing glance, processed it for maybe half a second, and went straight back to their own internal worries. The intensity of that attention exists almost entirely in your head, not in the room.
So here's what we're going to do. Next time you catch yourself spiraling over a minor public slip-up, a spilled coffee, a mispronounced word, a bad hair day, I want you to stop, take a breath, and ask yourself the Cornell question. Realistically, what percentage of people in this room actually noticed what just happened? Give yourself an honest gut reaction estimate based on how panicked you feel in that moment. Got your number? Okay, now apply this incredible takeaway rule straight from the researchers. Take that percentage and cut it in half. Literally, just slash it by 50%. If you think half the room noticed, assume it was 25%. If you think 20% noticed, assume it's 10%. By consciously cutting your panicked estimate in half, you will almost always be so much closer to the relieving truth.
All right, as we wrap up this explainer, I truly hope this breakdown helps you realize something huge. You are simply not on stage as often as you think you are. You are totally free to make mistakes, to stumble, and to just be human. Because I promise you, everyone else is way too busy watching their own spotlight to notice yours. So I'll leave you with this. What are you going to do today with this newfound freedom from judgment?